The rich boy was drowning and everyone just watched. Imani Washington saw him sink, 12 years old, terrified, silent. 50 people stood frozen. 3 teenagers laughed. She didn't think so. She dove. Her only interview blazer. Her mother's job is on the line. The rule? Staff children stay invisible. None of it mattered. Underwater, she grabbed him, pulled him up. He coughed, gasped, and lived. His father, the billionaire, stared at her like she'd done the impossible. "You saved my son." Then security arrived. She was near him before he fell. 3 witnesses say she pushed him. The phones that recorded nothing now became evidence. The crowd that did nothing now had opinions. And Imani, the girl who'd just rescued a child, was about to be arrested for trying to kill him. What happened next would change everything. 12 hours earlier, Imani's alarm went off at 5:47 a.m., 13 minutes before her mother's, just enough time to start Caleb's morning routine. Their apartment was small but immaculate. 2 bedrooms, patched linoleum, furniture held together by hope. Sharon Washington worked 2 jobs to keep it that way. Dignity didn't cost money. Caleb sat at the kitchen table arranging his cereal by color. 10 years old, autistic, mostly nonverbal. But when he was happy, he hummed. This morning, he hummed. "Good morning, baby." Imani kissed his head and set down his tablet. 3 years old, scratched screen, but it helped him talk when words wouldn't come. Sharon rushed through in her catering uniform. "Big day, Eastridge Country Club fundraiser, 200 guests, tips could be good." "Mom, your name tag is crooked." Sharon fixed it without slowing. "You have that college interview at 3? "Yes, ma'am. Social work program." "My smart girl." Sharon paused at the door. "Imani, Mrs. Carter canceled on Caleb. Can you bring him to the interview?" "Of course." It wasn't ideal. Imani's only interview outfit, thrift store blazer, pencil skirt, suede shoes barely holding together, was meant to impress admissions officers, not accommodate a 10-year-old. But plans were luxuries they couldn't afford. Caleb looked up and typed, "Sister, good." "You're good too, Cal." Across the city, Oliver Hastings sat at a marble breakfast counter in a house with more bathrooms than Imani's entire apartment. His occupational therapist guided his hand through writing exercises. Oliver was 12 but worked at a 2nd grade level. Not because he wasn't smart. Autism made some things harder. Words, social cues, swimming. He'd never learned to swim. Water scared him. His tablet was top of the line. Eye tracking, voice output, custom programming. It sat beside him, waiting. Richard Hastings swept through the kitchen, phone pressed to his ear. "Tokyo wants revised projections by noon. Tell them we're negotiating, not asking." He didn't look at Oliver. The therapist cleared her throat. "Mr. Hastings, Oliver wanted to show you something." "In the car, 3 calls before the fundraiser." Oliver's fingers stopped moving. He stared at his tablet but didn't type. Richard was already gone. The nanny appeared. "Oliver, we leave for the club at noon. The fundraiser, remember?" Oliver's hands started flapping, self-soothing. Social events overwhelmed him. Too many people, too much noise. The therapist touched his shoulder gently. "You'll be okay. Your dad will be there." Oliver typed slowly. "Scared." "I know, honey, but sometimes we do hard things." At 11:30 a.m., Sharon's phone buzzed at the country club. Her face fell. "Mrs. Carter's car broke down." They were already there. Sharon's shift started at noon. Imani's interview was at 3 across town. No time to go home. The club manager appeared, mid-50s, slicked hair, a smile that never reached his eyes. "Problem, Sharon." My daughter needs to stay with her brother for a few hours, just in the staff area. Staff children aren't permitted in the facility. Please, Mr. Voss, just until 3. There won't be any trouble. He looked at Imani like she already was. Fine. Staff corridor only. No guest areas. If I see her anywhere else, you're both gone. Thank you, sir. He walked away. Sharon squeezed Imani's hand. I'm sorry, baby. It's okay, Mom. We'll stay invisible. Imani settled into a folding chair in the narrow staff corridor with Caleb beside her. Through a small window, she watched guests arrive. Women in designer dresses, men in suits worth more than a year of their rent. 2 Americas in one building, and Imani understood something clearly. Invisible wasn't the same as safe. At the Eastridge Country Club, people like her only mattered when they were serving. What she didn't know was that in 3 hours, breaking that rule would save a life and nearly destroy her own. The Eastridge Country Club fundraiser began at 1 p.m., with champagne and lies about creating opportunities. 200 guests filled the grand ballroom. Tech executives, politicians, old money in new suits. The kind of people who donated to charity galas and voted against affordable housing in the same breath. Richard Hastings stood at the podium. We're here today to support innovation that levels the playing field, to give everyone a fair chance. Polite applause, glasses clinked. Oliver stood at the edge of the crowd with his nanny, hands over his ears. The noise was too much. The lights are too bright. His body screamed to leave, but his mouth couldn't form the words. Near the back, a group of teenagers laughed. Designer clothes, trust fund confidence, the kind of cruelty that comes from never facing consequences. Justin Colworth, 19, senator's son, pointed at Oliver. Look at that kid. What's wrong with him? His friends snickered. Is he broken? Another one pulled out his phone. Oliver's hands flapped faster, stimming, self-soothing. But to them, it was entertainment. Do a trick for us, Justin said, stepping closer. Oliver backed away toward the quieter pool area. The nanny didn't notice. She was checking her phone. The boys followed. From the staff corridor, Imani saw it through the window. That look on Oliver's face. She knew that look. Caleb wore it when the world became too much and he needed escape. She stood up. Caleb grabbed her sleeve, worried. It's okay, she whispered. Stay here. I just need to check something. She moved down the corridor, staying in the shadows. Technically not in the guest area, technically not breaking the rule, but close enough to watch. Oliver reached the pool terrace. Glass walls, sparkling water, silence. Better. He pulled out his tablet, trying to calm himself. The boys cornered him. Can you even talk? Justin leaned in. Or are you just stupid? Oliver's fingers froze on the screen. I bet he can't even read. One of the friends grabbed the tablet. Oliver pulled it back, protective. It was his voice, the only one he had. Let's see if it floats. Justin snatched the tablet. Oliver reached for it, desperate, silent panic in his eyes. Justin tossed it into the pool. It landed with a splash. Sank. Oliver didn't think. He just reacted. Lunged forward, reached for it, lost his balance, fell into the water. The boys laughed, then stopped laughing. Oliver was sinking. Not splashing, not waving, just sinking. Real drowning is silent. Justin's face went pale. Oh, shit. He can't swim, one friend whispered. We should... But they didn't move. They just stood there, frozen, phones out, recording evidence of their own crime. Guests started gathering, 50 people at the pool's edge. Gasps, murmurs. Some pulled out phones to film. No one jumped in. Imani saw it from the corridor window. That specific terror. The way Oliver's body moved underwater. Wrong. Drowning. She ran. Mr. Voss appeared in the hallway. Where do you think you're going? A boy is drowning. That's not your concern. Staff corridor only or you're fired. Imani didn't stop. She burst through the terrace doors. 50 faces turned to stare at her. The poor black girl in the thrift store blazer. Out of place. Breaking the rule. She didn't care. She dove into the pool fully clothed. Cold water shocked her system. Her shoes filled with water. Her blazer pulled her down. But she kicked hard, reached Oliver, grabbed his shirt. He thrashed, panicked. Didn't understand she was helping. She held him tight, the way she'd learned with Caleb. Firm, but gentle. Let him know he was safe. They broke the surface together. Oliver coughed, gasped, lived. Imani pulled him to the edge. Hands reached down. Adult hands. Finally helping now that the danger was over. Richard Hastings shoved through the crowd and dropped to his knees. Oliver. Oliver. Look at me. Oliver clung to his father, shaking, water streaming from his tuxedo shirt. Richard looked up at Imani, soaking wet, mascara running, shivering. You saved him. How did you know he was drowning? No one else saw it. My brother, Imani said quietly. He's like Oliver. I know what drowning looks like. For one moment, Richard's eyes held pure gratitude. Then security arrived, and everything changed. Security arrived in pressed uniforms with clipboards and suspicion. Everyone stay back. We need statements. Richard stood, still holding Oliver. This young woman just saved my son's life. The head of security, Mr. Brennan, barely glanced at Imani. We'll need to understand what happened here. What happened, Richard said slowly, is that my son was drowning, and she was the only person with the courage to help him. Mr. Brennan's jaw tightened. Sir, with respect, she's not authorized to be in this area. Staff children are restricted to... My son was dying. We need to review the footage and get witness statements. Standard protocol. Richard's face darkened, but he nodded. He turned to Imani. Thank you. Truly. What's your name? Imani Washington, sir. Imani. He said it like he was memorizing it. Please, come inside. You're freezing. Mr. Brennan stepped forward. Sir, she'll need to stay for questioning. Then question her somewhere warm. They moved to a private room off the main hall. Leather chairs, oil paintings, the smell of old money. Imani dripped pool water onto Persian rugs worth more than her mother's car. A staff member brought towels. Richard wrapped one around Oliver, who was still shaking, staring at nothing. Richard knelt in front of his son. You're safe now. You're okay. Oliver's hands moved to his tablet. Then he remembered. It was at the bottom of the pool. His face crumpled. We'll get you another one, Richard said quickly. I promise. Oliver looked at Imani, really looked at her. Then he did something unexpected. He reached out and touched her hand. Just for a second. A thank you in the only language his overwhelmed body could manage. Imani's throat tightened. You're very brave, she said softly. Richard stood, turned to her. How did you know? Everyone else just stood there. My little brother, Caleb. He's 10, autistic. 3 years ago, he fell into our apartment complex pool. I was the only one home. Imani's voice steadied. Drowning doesn't look like the movies. It's quiet. People don't wave or shout. They just slip under. Most people don't recognize it until it's too late. But you did. I couldn't let it happen again. Richard studied her. Not the way Mr. Voss looked at her like she was a problem to manage, but like she was a person worth knowing. What do you do, Imani? Are you in school? I'm 17. Senior year. I have a college interview today at 3 for a social work program. Or I did. I think I missed it. She looked down at her ruined blazer, soaked skirt, and destroyed shoes. Richard checked his watch. 2:47 p.m. Where's the interview? Northside Community College, but it's fine. I can reschedule. You saved my son's life. The least I can do is make sure you make that interview. My driver will take you. Sir, I can't. Please, let me do this small thing. Before Imani could answer, Mr. Brennan returned with 2 other security officers. He held a tablet, playing security footage. Mr. Hastings, we have a situation. Richard's expression shifted. What kind of situation? Mr. Brennan turned the screen. The angle showed the pool from above, Imani walking toward the terrace, Oliver at the edge, then Oliver falling, then Imani jumping in. But the angle made it look like she'd been right beside him. 3 witnesses have come forward. They say she pushed him. The room went silent. Imani's stomach dropped. What? No, I saved him. That's insane, Richard said. She jumped in to rescue him. We're just following protocol, sir. We've called the police. Oliver's hand found his father's sleeve. He pulled, desperate, trying to communicate something. But without his tablet, he had no words, and the system didn't care about words that couldn't be spoken. The police arrived 20 minutes later. Officer Davis, mid-40s, tired eyes, notepad already out. He listened to Mr. Brennan's summary with the practiced neutrality of someone who'd heard every story twice. So we have 3 witnesses saying she pushed the boy, and security footage showing her in proximity before the incident. This is ridiculous, Richard said. She saved him. I saw it. Sir, with respect, you arrived after the boy was already in the water. The witnesses were there before. Imani sat perfectly still, hands folded, trying not to shake. This couldn't be happening. She'd jumped in to save a child, and now she was being treated like a criminal. Officer Davis turned to her. Miss, I need you to come down to the station for a formal statement. Am I being arrested? Not at this time, but we need to investigate the allegations. Richard stepped forward. She's 17. She doesn't go anywhere without legal representation. Sir, that's her right, but we still need her statement. Then she'll give it with an attorney present. Imani's voice came out small. I can't afford an attorney. Richard looked at her and something shifted in his expression. A decision being made. You won't need to. I'll handle it. Mr. Brennan cleared his throat. Mr. Hastings, perhaps we should discuss this privately. No. There's nothing private about this. My son is alive because of Imani. Whatever she needs, she gets. Officer Davis wrote something down. I'll need contact information. We'll schedule the statement for tomorrow morning. Don't leave the city. He left. The room exhaled. Richard pulled out his phone. Elena Martinez, best attorney in the state. She'll meet us at my office in an hour. Mr. Hastings, I appreciate this, but what? You think I'm going to let them railroad you for saving my son's life? His voice was sharp, but not with her. With the situation. With the injustice already unfolding. Mr. Voss appeared in the doorway. Mr. Hastings, I need to speak with you. They stepped into the hallway. Imani couldn't hear the full conversation, but she caught pieces. Liability concerns, her mother's employment, club policy. Richard's response was clear. If you fire Sharon Washington, I'll pull my membership and make sure every member knows why. Are we understood? Silence. Good. Now get me the full security footage, every camera angle. I want it on my desk in an hour. Mr. Voss left, face tight. Richard returned, looked at Oliver, still sitting quietly, hands moving in small, repetitive patterns. Then at Imani. Come with me, both of you. We're leaving. In the car, a Mercedes that smelled like leather and wealth, Oliver sat between Imani and Richard in the back seat. The driver navigated city traffic in silence. Richard finally spoke. Tell me about Caleb. Imani hesitated, then decided honesty was all she had left. He's 10. Non-verbal most of the time. He has a tablet like Oliver's, but it's old. Basic. We can't afford the fancy ones with all the features, but it helps him tell us what he needs. What does he need most? The same thing every kid needs, to be seen. to be heard, to matter. She paused. It's hard when the world doesn't make space for kids like him. Schools don't have enough support. Therapy is expensive, and people stare like he's broken instead of just different. Richard glanced at Oliver. I know what you mean. Do you? It came out sharper than Imani intended, but she was tired, scared, and sitting in a car that cost more than her mother would make in 5 years while facing criminal charges for doing the right thing. Richard didn't flinch. You're right, I don't. I have money, resources, the best therapists, but I don't have time. I've been so focused on building the business, on the foundation, on changing policy, that I forgot to just be his father. Oliver's hand found Richard's. Richard held it. Today was a wake-up call. Watching him in that pool, realizing I almost lost him, that I've been losing him slowly for years by not being present. They arrived at a glass office building downtown, Richard's company headquarters, Hastings Technologies, 50 stories of innovation and power. Elena Martinez was waiting in the conference room, 50-something, sharp suit, sharper eyes. She shook Imani's hand firmly. Mr. Hastings filled me in on the drive. This is garbage, and we're going to prove it. She pulled up the security footage on a large screen, played it frame by frame. Here, you enter the frame at 2:43. Oliver is already at the pool edge. You're at least 15 feet away. Can you see what happened before I got there? Imani asked. Elena scrolled back. The footage jumped. There's a gap. 2 minutes missing. Missing or deleted? Richard asked. Could be either. I've subpoenaed the raw files. Elena made notes. The witnesses, who are they? Richard pulled up his phone. Justin Colworth and 2 friends. I have their names. Elena's eyebrow raised. Justin Colworth? As in Senator Thomas Colworth's son? Yes. Interesting. She turned to Imani. Did you interact with these boys at all today? No, I didn't even see them until... Wait. Imani's memory sharpened. I saw them following Oliver before he went to the pool. They were laughing. One of them had his phone out. Did you see what they were doing? No, I was too far away. But Oliver looked scared. Elena wrote faster. If they were harassing him, their story falls apart. We need to find out what happened in those missing 2 minutes. Richard stood. I'll talk to the club, get every camera angle. They'll stall, Elena said. Club lawyers protect members, not the truth. Then I'll buy the club. Elena smiled. I love working with you. She turned back to Imani. Here's what happens next. We will go to the station tomorrow. You tell the truth. Every detail. Don't embellish. Don't guess. Just what you saw and did. Will they arrest me? Not if I can help it. But Imani, I need you to be prepared. The system doesn't always work the way it should. These boys come from money and power. You don't. I know. But you have something they don't. What's that? The truth. And me. Richard walked Imani to the elevator. I meant what I said. Whatever you need. Lawyer fees, college recommendations, anything. Why? Imani asked quietly. You don't know me. I know you jumped into a pool to save my son when 50 people just watched. That tells me everything I need to know. He paused. What do you want to do with your life? Social work. I want to help families like mine, families with kids like Caleb who fall through the cracks because the system isn't built for them. Richard nodded slowly. The Hastings Foundation funds autism services, research, therapy programs, family support. We're always looking for people who understand the real need. When this is over, if you're interested, there's a summer internship with your name on it. If this is over. When, Richard corrected. I don't lose, Imani, and neither will you. The elevator doors opened. As Imani stepped in, Richard called out, One more thing. Your college interview. I'll call them, explain what happened. Make sure you get another chance. The doors closed. Imani leaned against the elevator wall and finally let herself cry. That evening, Sharon Washington came home to find her daughter sitting at the kitchen table, staring at nothing. "Baby, what happened?" Imani told her everything. The drowning, the rescue, the accusations, the police. Sharon's face went through a dozen emotions in seconds: pride, fear, anger, heartbreak. "You saved a child's life and they're treating you like a criminal?" "Mr. Hastings got me a lawyer, a good one. We can't afford—" "He's paying for everything. He said Oliver's alive because of me." Sharon sat down heavily. "Mr. Voss called me after my shift, said I'm fired. Liability issues." Imani's chest tightened. "Mom, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to—" "Stop!" Sharon grabbed her daughter's hands. "You did exactly what you were supposed to do. You saved a life. We'll figure out the rest. But the rent and Caleb's therapy? I've been poor before. I'll be poor again. But I will never be ashamed of you for having a good heart." Caleb wandered in, tablet in hand. He'd been unusually quiet all evening, sensing the tension. He typed, "Sister sad?" "I'm okay, Cal." He typed again, "Sister hero." Imani's eyes filled. "How do you know that?" Caleb showed her his tablet. Sharon had explained it to him in simple words. Sister helped boy in water. Sister brave. He hugged her tight. Across town, Richard sat in Oliver's bedroom while his son got ready for bed. Oliver had a new tablet now, top of the line, overnight shipped, already programmed. But his fingers moved slowly across it, still processing the day. "Oliver," Richard said quietly, "did Imani hurt you?" Oliver's response was immediate. "No." "Did she help you?" "Yes. Save me." "Do you know who pushed you? Or was it an accident?" Oliver's fingers stopped. His face scrunched with the effort of remembering, of finding words for terror. He typed, "Boys mean, scared, took tablet." "The boys took your tablet and you tried to get it?" "Yes." "Did they push you?" Oliver hesitated. Then, "Not push, dropped tablet. I reached, fell." Richard's jaw clenched. So it wasn't a direct push, but they created the situation. They terrorized his son. They caused this, and now they were blaming the girl who saved him. "I believe you, Oliver, and I'm going to make sure everyone else does too." Oliver looked at him with those big, trusting eyes. He typed one more thing. "Imani, good. Help her." "I will. I promise." Richard kept his promises. The story hit the news at 6 a.m. Teen accused of assaulting billionaire's autistic son at charity event. Imani's school photo, 2 years old, braces still on, plastered across every local channel. Her name, her neighborhood, her mother's name. By 7 a.m., it was on social media. By 8 a.m., it was everywhere. Sharon's phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Reporters outside their apartment building, neighbors suddenly having opinions, Caleb's school calling to discuss the situation. Imani stayed in her room, watching her life become a spectacle. The comments section was a war zone. Another violent teen with no respect. Why was she even at that club? She doesn't belong there. Rich people's kids aren't safe anywhere anymore. But also, she saved him. Why is no one talking about that? 3 witnesses versus 1 black girl. We've seen this before. Something doesn't add up. The college called. Her interview was postponed indefinitely pending resolution of legal matters. Translation, rejected. 2 other schools she'd applied to sent similar emails within hours. Imani read them in silence, then closed her laptop. At 10 a.m., District Attorney Rebecca Sloan held a press conference. Mid-40s, ambitious, election year coming up. She stood at a podium with the confidence of someone who'd already decided the ending. We take violence against vulnerable individuals very seriously. After reviewing security footage and witness statements, we are pursuing charges of assault and reckless endangerment against Imani Washington. She played the edited footage, the angle that made Imani look guilty. 3 credible witnesses have confirmed that Miss Washington pushed 12-year-old Oliver Hastings into the pool. The fact that she subsequently pulled him out does not negate the initial violent act. A reporter raised a hand. What about Richard Hastings' statement that she saved his son? Mr. Hastings arrived after the incident occurred. His perspective, while valued, is not that of an eyewitness. What about Oliver? Has he been interviewed? D.A. Sloan's expression tightened. Oliver Hastings is nonverbal and unable to provide a reliable statement. We're relying on credible witnesses who saw the event unfold. Unable to provide a reliable statement. The words hung in the air like a slap. At the Hastings estate, Richard watched the press conference with Elena. She just declared my son's voice invalid, he said quietly. She declared every nonverbal person's voice invalid, Elena corrected. And we're going to make her regret it. She clicked to another tab. I got the witness statements. Justin Colworth, Derek Carter, and Marcus Webb, all 19, all from prominent families. Their stories are identical, word for word. Rehearsed. Or coached. Elena pulled up more files. I've been digging into Justin. His father is Senator Thomas Colworth. Richard's face darkened. Tom Colworth. You know him? He's blocked every piece of autism funding legislation I've supported for 3 years, cut special education budgets, called accommodation programs wasteful spending. We've gone head-to-head publicly. Elena leaned back. So his son frames a girl at your charity event, involving your autistic son? That's not a coincidence. It's revenge. Or politics. Senator Colworth is up for re-election. What better way to damage his opponent than to create a scandal at your event? Richard stood, paced. He used my son as bait, put him in danger, then blamed an innocent girl. Can you prove it? Not yet, but I will. Elena's phone buzzed. She read the message, face grim. The club just denied my request for additional camera footage. They're claiming technical difficulties. Multiple cameras malfunctioned that day. Convenient. Richard, they're deleting evidence. By noon, D.A. Sloan's office made their move. Elena got the call. They're offering a plea deal. She put it on speaker so Imani and Sharon could hear. Imani pleads guilty to reckless endangerment. No jail time. 12 months probation. Community service. And if we refuse? Elena asked. They proceed to trial on felony assault charges. If convicted, she's looking at 5 to 10 years. Silence filled the room. She's 17, Sharon said, voice shaking. She saved that boy's life. I know, Mrs. Washington. But the DA has 3 witnesses and footage. A jury might... No! Imani's voice cut through. I'm not pleading guilty to something I didn't do. Imani, baby. 10 years. I didn't do it, Mom. I saved him. I'm not going to stand in front of a judge and say I hurt that boy when I jumped into a pool to rescue him. Elena looked at her with something like respect. Then we fight. We'll lose, Sharon whispered. Maybe, Elena said. The system is rigged against people like Imani. We all know it. 3 wealthy white witnesses against 1 black girl from the poor side of town? The odds are terrible. Then why fight? Sharon asked. Richard, who'd been quiet until now, spoke. Because fairness isn't what's legal. It's what's right. He turned to Imani. I'm not going to lie to you. This is going to get worse before it gets better. The media will tear you apart. People will assume you're guilty because of where you're from, what you look like, what you don't have. The system will try to force you to accept a punishment for a crime you didn't commit. I know, But you're not alone. I have resources, investigators, the best legal team money can buy. And I have something they don't. What? My son. Oliver knows what happened. He can't speak with his voice, but he can speak. And I'm going to make sure the world listens. Imani's eyes filled with tears. What if they don't? What if his voice doesn't count? Then we make it count. Richard's voice was steel. I've spent 10 years building a foundation to support people like Oliver, to advocate for their rights, their dignity, their voices. If the DA thinks my son doesn't deserve to be heard, she just declared war on everything I've built. He looked at Elena. Reject the plea. We're going public. That night, Imani sat in her room reading the comments, the hate, the doubt, the casual cruelty of strangers who'd decided her guilt from a headline. One comment stuck. She should have stayed in her place. That's what this was really about. Not the pool, not Oliver. It was about a poor black girl stepping out of the shadows into a space where people like her were supposed to be invisible. And the system punishes her for daring to be seen. She closed her laptop. Tomorrow, Elena said, they'd start building their defense. But tonight, Imani let herself feel the weight of it. The unfairness, the fear, the exhaustion of fighting for her innocence when guilt had already been decided. Caleb knocked softly, came in, and curled up beside her. He didn't type anything, just held her hand. Sometimes that was enough. Elena's investigator was a woman named Rachel Kim, former FBI, current truth seeker, zero tolerance for lies. She sat in Elena's conference room with 3 laptops and a stack of files. I found something, Rachel said, turning her screen. An elderly Asian woman appeared on video. Dorothy Carter, club member for 32 years. She was on the terrace when Oliver fell. Rachel played the recording. Dorothy spoke clearly. I saw those boys harassing that child. They threw his tablet in the pool. He reached for it and lost his balance. The girl dove in to save him. She didn't push anyone. Why wasn't she interviewed? Richard asked. The security supervisor told her they had enough witnesses. That supervisor is Brennan, Justin Colworth's uncle. The room went silent. Rachel opened another file. I subpoenaed Justin's phone records. She showed them the text messages. Justin. Hastings' charity thing tomorrow. His weird kid will be there. Dad says Hastings is why his education bill failed. Let's embarrass him. The day of the event. Justin. Got the kid alone by the pool. After the incident. Justin. Shit, the kid can't swim, he's drowning. Derek. We're screwed. Justin. Delete the video. Say the girl pushed him. Her word against ours. Imani stared at the messages. They planned it. Then blamed me. We have proof now, Elena said. Texts, Dorothy's testimony. This changes everything. Will the DA drop charges? Sharon asked. She should. But admitting she's wrong in an election year? Elena shook her head. We need to force her hand. Richard stood. We go public. Press conference. Show everyone the truth. Risky, Rachel warned. Could compromise the case. There won't be a case once people see this. Richard turned to Imani. But we need one more thing. Oliver's voice. An hour later, Richard's home office. Oliver sat with his tablet, nervous. You don't have to do this, Richard said gently. But if you want to help Imani, this is how. Oliver typed, want to help. Richard pressed a record on the camera. Oliver, what happened at the pool? Oliver's fingers moved. The tablet spoke. Boys were mean. Took my tablet, threw it in water. I tried to get it. I fell. Couldn't breathe. Did Imani push you? No. Imani saved me. She's brave. Did the boys push you? Oliver paused. Then, they made me fall. They wanted to hurt Dad. Anything else you want to say? Oliver looked at the camera. People think I can't talk, but I can. My words count. Imani is good. Please believe me. Richard stopped recording. Imani wiped her eyes. Thank you, Oliver. Oliver typed, You saved me. I save you. That night, Senator Colworth called Richard. Richard answered on speaker, Elena listening. We need to talk, Richard. I have nothing to say to you. My son made a mistake. Boys being boys. Drop your support for the girl and the charges disappear quietly. Your son framed an innocent 17-year-old. One mistake shouldn't ruin his future. She's nobody. Think strategically. I have influence. Government contracts. We can help each other. Richard's voice went cold. Fairness isn't what's legal, Tom. It's what's right. Tomorrow, everyone knows what your son did. You're making a mistake. No. You made the mistake when you taught your son that people like Imani don't matter. Richard hung up. Elena looked at him. He'll retaliate. Let him try. The press conference was scheduled for 10 a.m. at the Hastings Foundation headquarters. By 9:30, the room was packed. Every major news outlet, cameras, reporters, the air crackled with anticipation. DA Rebecca Sloan watched from her office on a live stream, coffee going cold in her hand. Richard stepped to the podium. Oliver sat beside him, tablet ready. Elena and Imani sat in the front row. Thank you for coming. 6 days ago, my son nearly drowned at a charity event. A young woman named Imani Washington saved his life. She jumped into a pool fully clothed, risked her own safety, and pulled him to the surface. He paused. For that act of courage, she was accused of pushing him. 3 witnesses claimed they saw her commit assault. The district attorney charged her with a crime. Her college acceptances were revoked. Her mother lost her job, and the media convicted her before she ever saw a courtroom. Cameras flashing. Today, I'm here to present evidence that was deliberately hidden. Evidence that proves Imani's innocence and reveals a conspiracy to frame her. Richard nodded to Elena. She played Dorothy Carter's video testimony on the large screens. Dorothy's voice filled the room. I saw those boys throw the child's tablet into the pool. He reached for it and fell. The girl ran from inside and dove in to save him. She didn't push anyone. Everyone else just stood there. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Mrs. Carter is a 32-year club member, Richard continued. Security never interviewed her. The supervisor who ignored her testimony is the uncle of one of the accusers. More murmurs, reporters typing frantically. Elena displayed the next evidence. Text messages from Justin Colworth, obtained through legal subpoena. The messages appeared on screen. Justin. Let's embarrass Hastings. Dad says he's the reason his education bill failed. Justin. Got the kid alone by the pool. Justin. Delete the video, say the girl pushed him. Her word against ours. The room erupted, questions shouted, cameras pivoting. Richard raised his hand for quiet. Justin Colworth and his friends terrorized my son because of a political grudge against me. When their harassment went too far and Oliver fell, they panicked. And they blamed an innocent girl because they thought no one would believe her over them. A reporter stood. Mr. Hastings, have you spoken to Senator Colworth about this? The senator called me last night. He offered to make the charges disappear if I stayed silent. He called Imani nobody. He suggested his son's future mattered more than hers. The room exploded again. Richard waited for silence. But there's one more person who needs to be heard. My son, Oliver Hastings. 12 years old, autistic, non-verbal. The DA said he couldn't provide a reliable statement. She declared his voice invalid. Richard looked at Oliver. Want to show them you have a voice? Oliver nodded. Richard played the video. Oliver's face filled the screens. His tablet's voice spoke his words. Boys were mean. Took my tablet. Threw it in water. I tried to get it. I fell. Couldn't breathe. The room was absolutely silent. Imani saved me. She's brave. Some reporters had tears in their eyes. People think I can't talk, but I can. My words count. Imani is good. Please believe me. The video ended. For 5 seconds, no one moved. Then someone started clapping, then another. Then the entire room stood and applauded. Richard's voice was thick. My son's voice is as valid as anyone's in this room. He told you the truth. Dorothy told you the truth. The evidence tells you the truth. He looked directly at the camera. District Attorney Sloan, you have a choice. Drop these charges and pursue justice against the real perpetrators, or continue prosecuting an innocent girl and prove that our system values power over truth. A reporter shouted, "What do you want to happen to Justin Colworth?" I want him charged with the crimes he actually committed: evidence tampering, false reporting, obstruction of justice, and I want every person who helped cover this up held accountable. Another reporter. What about Imani? What does she want? Richard stepped back. Imani stood. Her hands shook, but her voice didn't. I want people to stop assuming guilt based on where someone's from or what they look like. I want kids like my brother and Oliver to be heard, not dismissed. And I want to finish high school and go to college so I can help families who don't have billionaires fighting for them. She paused. Justin Colworth almost destroyed my life because he thought I didn't matter. I hope he learns that everyone matters. That's the only justice I need. The applause was deafening. Within 2 hours, the story went viral. Tatch Justice for Imani trended #1 globally. Oliver's video had 10 million views. Dorothy Carter became a national hero for speaking up. By 1 p.m., Senator Colworth's office released a statement. Senator Colworth is withdrawing from his re-election campaign to focus on family matters. He deeply regrets the pain caused and supports a full investigation. By 2 p.m., Justin Colworth appeared with his attorney, reading from a prepared statement. I was wrong. I harassed Oliver Hastings. When he fell, I panicked and blamed Imani Washington instead of accepting responsibility. I'm deeply sorry for the harm I caused. I accept full accountability. He looked up, face pale. Imani, if you're watching, I'm sorry. You're a better person than I'll ever be. By 3 p.m., DA Rebecca Sloan held her own press conference. After reviewing new evidence, my office is immediately dropping all charges against Imani Washington. We are opening investigations into Justin Colworth, Derek Carter, Marcus Webb, and Eastridge Country Club security for evidence tampering and obstruction of justice. She looked exhausted. I owe Miss Washington an apology. The system failed her. I failed her. That ends now. By 5 p.m., the Eastridge Country Club announced policy changes. Zero tolerance for discrimination. Staff protection protocols. Security Supervisor Brennan terminated immediately. By 6 p.m., Imani's phone exploded with messages. College admissions offices apologizing, reinstating applications, offering interviews. Scholarship organizations reaching out. People from across the country are sending support. And one email that made her cry. From Northside Community College. Dear Imani, we made a terrible mistake. Your courage, grace, and character are exactly what this program needs. Full scholarship, acceptance guaranteed. We'd be honored to have you. Sharon read it over her daughter's shoulder and pulled her into a hug. Caleb joined them, typing on his tablet. Sister win. Yeah, baby, Sharon whispered. Sister won. That evening, Richard and Oliver visited Imani's apartment. Oliver had a gift. A new tablet. Programmed, customized, top of the line. For Caleb. Caleb's eyes went wide. He looked at Oliver, then at the tablet, then back. Oliver typed on his own tablet, "For you. Friends help friends." Caleb typed on his old tablet, "Thank you." Then he did something he rarely did. He smiled big and hugged Oliver. Richard handed Sharon an envelope. "What's this?" "Job offer. Events coordinator at Hastings Foundation. Better pay, full benefits, and you can bring Caleb to work when needed. We have an inclusive workplace." Sharon's hands shook. "Mr. Hastings, You raised an extraordinary daughter. That tells me everything about who you are." He turned to Imani. "That summer internship is still yours if you want it. And after college, if you're interested, the foundation is always looking for people who understand what really matters." Imani nodded, unable to speak. Richard smiled. "You saved my son. You changed my life. You reminded me why I started this work. Thank you." As they left, Oliver turned back one more time. He signed "Thank you" in ASL, something he'd been learning. Imani signed back, "You're brave. I'm proud of you." That night, Imani sat at her window looking at the city. 6 days ago, she'd jumped into a pool and everything changed. She'd been accused, attacked, dismissed. But she'd also been believed, defended, heard. And tomorrow she'd wake up with a future again. Not because a billionaire saved her, but because she'd saved herself by refusing to accept a lie as truth. Justice wasn't a gift. It was a fight. And sometimes, when you fight for what's right, the world fights back with you. 3 months later, Imani adjusted her new blazer in the mirror. Not a thrift store this time. Bought with her mother's first paycheck from the Hastings Foundation. Today was her first day of college. 7 acceptance letters. Full scholarships. She chose Northside Community College. Close to home. Close to Caleb. The social work program she'd dreamed about. Sharon appeared in the doorway. "Look at you, my college girl." "I'm nervous." "You stood up to the legal system. You can handle a classroom." Caleb ran in with his new tablet, the one from Oliver. He typed, "Sister Smart, proud. Love you, Cal." Across town, Richard sat at breakfast with Oliver. No phone, no emails. Mornings belonged to his son now. Oliver was thriving. Better therapies, more confidence. But the biggest change was simpler. His father was present. "Ready for swimming?" Richard asked. Oliver's face showed anxiety and determination. He'd started adaptive swimming lessons 6 weeks ago at the Hastings Foundation therapy pool. Slowly, patiently. Today, Imani was volunteering there. At the pool, Oliver arrived as Imani worked with 3 other kids in the water. She waved. He waved back. The instructor helped Oliver into the shallow end. Still scared, but trying. Imani swam over. "You're in control. The water won't hurt you." Oliver nodded. With support, he leaned back. Let the water hold him. Floated. His face broke into a smile. Richard watched from the observation area, tears in his eyes. After the lesson, Oliver and Imani sat at the pool's edge. Oliver typed, "You saved me twice. From water. And when you showed people my voice matters. Your voice always mattered. People just needed to listen. Now they listen. Yeah, now they listen. We're friends?" "Best friends." Oliver signed in ASL, "Thank you." Imani signed back, "You're brave." Richard joined them. "I've been thinking, the foundation needs a youth advisory board. Kids like Oliver and Caleb telling us what families actually need. Would you help run it? Paid position." Imani looked at Oliver, at the pool, at the future opening before her. 6 months ago, she was invisible. Now she was building something to make sure other kids never had to be. "I'd be honored." That evening, her first college class. The professor asked, "Why social work?" Imani thought about a pool, a drowning boy, a choice that changed everything. Because everyone deserves to be seen, and sometimes you have to jump in to prove it. The professor smiled. Welcome to the program, Imani. She opened her notebook. Ready to begin. 1 year later, Imani Washington graduated with honors and founded Voices Matter, a nonprofit supporting caregiving families in underserved communities. Oliver Hastings became an autism self-advocate, speaking at conferences nationwide using his communication device. Richard Hastings restructured his foundation, creating scholarships for young caregivers and expanding communication technology, access to all 50 states. Sharon Washington now directs community outreach at the Hastings Foundation, helping hundreds of families access resources they need. Justin Colworth completed community service and court-ordered therapy. He now volunteers with disability advocacy groups, working to undo the harm he caused. The Eastridge Country Club implemented comprehensive anti-discrimination policies and hired its first diverse security team. Imani speaks directly to camera. Kindness doesn't cost anything, but it costs everything if you don't choose it. Fairness isn't about laws. It's about seeing people. And opportunity. It shows up when someone believes you matter. Images of Oliver swimming confidently, Caleb and Oliver playing together, Imani teaching at a workshop, families laughing. That pool was just water, but what happened there changed how we see each other. One choice, one moment, one person refusing to look away. Final image. Imani and Oliver at the therapy pool, both smiling, both free. Everyone has a voice. Everyone deserves to be heard. Sometimes all it takes is one person willing to jump in. Millions of families caring for loved ones with disabilities lack resources and support. Be the person who sees them. If this story touched your heart, help us share it. Hit that like button, subscribe for more stories that matter, and comment below. What would you have done in Imani's shoes? Your engagement helps these messages reach people who need to hear them. Together we can change how the world sees courage, fairness, and humanity.